In this video, we're going to introduce about polar functions. In rectangular, we use x, comma, y to plot the point. But in polar functions, we use r, comma, theta, where r represents the distance. The point is away from the origin, and theta represents the angle that is away from the positive x-axis. So let's say you want to plot 2 comma pi. What you need to do is you start from the positive x-axis and you go pi, and the radius is positive 2, so you have to go that way. So this point right here will be 2 comma pi. On the other hand, if you want to plot negative 2 comma pi, what you do is you start from the positive x-axis, you go to pi. Now, r is negative 2, so instead of going this way, you need to go the other way. So that point right there is negative 2 comma pi. Now, let's think about this point. You could also say that this point is same as 2 comma 0. Think about it. You have a 0. You don't have any angle to move, so you stay right there. But then r is positive 2. So this point right here can be represented as 2 comma 0 or negative 2 comma pi. Now, what if you want to plot 2 comma pi over 4? First, you need to go pi over 4, which is about 45 degrees. And radius is going to be 2. So you move 2. That radius needs to be 2. So 2 comma under 4 will be about over here. Now you could also say that this is the same thing as negative 2 comma negative 3 pi over 4. Think about it. From the x-axis, you're going to go negative 3 pi over 4. Radius is negative 2. So instead of going this way, you have to go to the other way. So therefore, this point can be represented as 2 comma pi over 4 or negative 2 comma negative 3 pi over 4. Now let's go over some trig. When you have a right triangle and you have a theta, remember theta can be either first, second, third, or fourth quadrant. And you know that cosine theta is x over r, and sine theta is y over r. So when you multiply both sides by r, you are going to get x equals r cosine theta. And also sine theta is y over r, so when you multiply both sides by r, you are going to get y equals r sine theta. And you know that tangent theta is y over x. And you get r squared equals x squared plus y squared using Pythagorean theorem. Now we're going to use this to convert rectangular to polar and polar to rectangular. So you got 4 comma pi over 2. This is polar. How would you change it to rectangular? Well, you know that r is 4 and theta is pi over 2. So the x value will be 4 times cosine of pi over 2, which is going to be, what's cosine of pi over 2? That's 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Now y is going to be r times sine theta, so 4 times sine of pi over 2. And you know that sine of pi over 2 is 1, so 1 times 4 is 4. So in rectangular, this will be same thing as 0 comma 4. Now think about it. Where is 4 comma pi over 2? Well, you have to go pi over 2, and the radius is 4, so it will be over here, which is same thing as 0 comma 4 in rectangular. What about negative 3 comma pi? R is negative 3. And theta is pi. So it would be x equals negative 3 cosine of pi. Now cosine of pi is negative 1, so negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. What about y? Negative 3 times sine of pi. Sine of pi is 0. 0 times negative 3 is 0. So in rectangular, this will be 3 comma 0. Again, let's think about it. Where is negative 3 comma pi? Well, pi is over here, but you're going negative 3. So you have to go 1, 2, 3, and that is a point. And guess what? That's the same thing as 3 comma 0. Now we got 16 comma pi, 5 pi over 6. So r equals 16, and theta is 5 pi over 6. So to get the x value, it's going to be 16 times cosine of 5 pi over 6. Now, 5 pi over 6 is the same thing as 150 degrees, isn't it? And 150 is in the second quadrant. So reference angle is 30 here, or pi over 6. Now, what's cosine of 5 pi over 6? That's going to be cosine of 30, which is radical 3 over 2. But since this is a second quadrant, it's going to be negative radical 3 over 2. And that's going to be negative 8 radical 3. What about y? Y is going to be 16 times sine of 5 pi over 6. Now, sine of 5 pi over 6 is going to be sine of 30, which is 1 over 2. And sine in second quadrant is positive. So this is the same thing as 16 times 1 over 2, which is 8. So in rectangular, it's going to be negative 8 radical 3 comma 8. Now let's change 1 comma 0, which is in rectangular coordinate, to a polar coordinate. So we got x equals 1 and y equals 0. By the way, right away, you could kind of plot this. 1 comma 0 is right here. So how can we represent that using polar? Well, it's going to be the radius is 1 and theta is 0. So in polar, you get 1 comma 0 as well. So you could kind of do this right away without using formula here. But if you use the formula, you will get the same result. And this is what I mean. Now to get r, you have to use r squared equals x squared plus y squared. So r squared will be 1 squared plus 0 squared. And you get r equals positive negative 1. Now how do you get theta? Well, it says that tangent theta is y over x, so it's 0 over 1, which means that tangent theta is 0. Now, think about it. Tangent of what angle gives you 0? Well, it's when theta is 0. So we got r equals 1 comma 0. Now, if you want to use the negative 1, that's the same thing as negative 1 comma pi. Because you have to go pi and then negative 1. So you end up over that. You end up over here. So we got the same result. What about if you want to plot negative 3 comma 3? Well, x equals negative 3 and y equals 3. So r squared will be negative 3 squared plus 3 squared. And that's going to be 9 plus 9, which is 18. So that means r will be positive negative radical 18, which is the same thing as positive negative 3 radical 2. Now we need to get theta, so we have to say tangent theta is y over x, which is negative 1. Now tangent of what gives you negative 1? Well, that's when theta is negative pi over 4. Now, let's be careful here, because just because theta is negative pi over 4, it doesn't mean that that's what the answer will be. We have to double check. Where is negative 3 comma 3? It's going to be in the second quadrant, somewhere over here, right? So if you draw a triangle, you know that this reference angle will be pi over 4. So what is this angle right here then? Since the reference angle is pi over 4, this angle right here, it will be 3 pi over 4. So in order to plot this in polar, you have to say that the radius is 3 radical 2 comma 3 pi over 4. Or you could also say that you could go negative pi over 4. If you go negative pi over 4, now you have to go the other way, so you have to be negative 3 radical 2.